Coming up next on the Legacy Journeys podcast.
And see, and I know I have a lot of, regrets as far as, everything that happened. Because again, I didn't know that her mom was never going to be there or never going to come back for her. I was always under the assumption that eventually her mom would come back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she was there, but she was just there, like she would call her and talk to her. She wasn't physically, there with her.
Right.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Legacy Journeys, where couples over 40 come to embrace the now, explore what's next, and evolve their relationship with real talk, real love, and a whole lot of laughter. I'm your host, Liv, along with my co-host,
Carlton, the host with the most, coast to coast. How you doing, Liv?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good, and I'm excited to jump into another Legacy Journeys podcast episode, and we're going to kick it off with a crowd favorite, and that is Am I the Asshole Reddit story.
Yes. And so this one begins with, or not begins with, but it starts with, am I the asshole for laughing at my ex-husband's wife when she called me hysterically because my kids didn't choose to go to Disney with them on Mother's Day? My ex-husband, both 40s, and I share a 16-year-old son, a 15-year-old daughter, and a 14-year-old son together. We separated when I was pregnant with our 14-year-old, and we officially divorced when he was 1. We have a very detailed court-ordered parenting and custody agreement that I have always followed to the T. This is to avoid adding conflict to an already higher conflict situation. For those who will ask, my ex-husband's wife was not the reason we broke up. He did cheat on me during my 3rd pregnancy, and this was due to it being a high-risk pregnancy where I could not engage in any sexual activity with him. He felt it was a good reason to sleep with others. I did not. He has always believed I was unfair to him. Yet, he did go through a paternity drama with one of the women he slept with during that time. One of,
right.
Damn.
Yeah, right.
Okay. He was proven not to be the father, but he expected me to be okay with him having unprotected sex with someone else.
Right.
The nerve.
Right.
All of this has made it difficult for us to co-parent. It's why we need everything spelled out and why we communicate via parenting app mostly. Our youngest has a medical issue, so texting and calling is sometimes a requirement. My ex-husband remarried 4 years after our divorce was finalized. From the beginning of their relationship, there were issues with his wife and our children. His wife was all over the place with our kids and appeared to take her fertility troubles out on our children by being short and snapping at them or making them feel like a problem in the home. Yet, she also wanted them to call her mom, and she wanted them to spend more time with her. Now,
we both.
Now, that's one thing. Yeah, you're not going to be having my child call you mom.
Right.
When they already have a mother.
Right. You're insisting.
Right. That's a problem.
Yeah.
There were times we returned to court over the issues in my ex's home. My ex tried to paint it was me alienating the kids from his wife, but he and his wife got 3 warnings for the very thing he accused me of. The judge said repeatedly, encouraging children to call a person other than their parents, mom or dad, was suggesting alienation of some kind. The warnings were spaced out enough that no consequences were ever given as a result. My ex and his wife were ordered to take parenting classes several years ago also. I always encourage my kids to not be cruel to the woman their dad is married to, but they don't like her and they don't respect her really. They show her some respect, but they don't actually have any for her. My older son and my daughter have particularly had some encounters with her where they lost respect for her. They were in therapy for many years because the burden of this woman's infertility and IVF struggles were shared with them. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And done so in a way that was meant to coerce them to give her what she wanted. The therapists were godsends to us during that time. Last year, all three of my children were deemed old enough to decide whether they saw their father 50-50 as they had previously, or whether one weekend a month would be the new parenting time split. All three chose to reduce their time to 1 weekend a month. This was something my ex and his new wife didn't like and tried to fight, but the kids say was given more weight. My ex and his wife did eventually have 2 children together. Yesterday, they decided to go to Disney with the kids to celebrate Mother's Day. My ex called and asked me to let our kids come. I gave my kids the choice and they answered never. I already expected that, but I didn't want to deny them the chance if they wanted it. My ex was furious, but I ended the second call and ignored further texts from him. Then I got a call from an unknown number around 3 p.m. and it was his wife. She was hysterically crying down the phone about my kids not being there and how they were supposed to be because they're her kids too.
Yeah.
Okay. I laughed at her antics and ended the call. I got around a dozen texts in the next 2 hours, and then my ex texted me last night and this morning telling me I was heartless and suggesting I should appreciate his wife loves our kids this much. Yeah, okay.
Right.
My issue was never her being good to them. It was the way she treated them.
Mm-hmm.
The hot and cold, the demands and expectations, and attempts to guilt trip them. It's the way she acted like she had as much of a right to be their mom as I had. And all because at the time she had no kids and had fertility troubles. It's the way she made my ex's home hell for my kids. My ex allowing it is not something I've forgotten either. But I think it's crazy to think I should be grateful for any of this. But maybe I'm being the asshole. So I'll ask the people of Reddit, am I the asshole?
Yeah.
Definitely not the asshole.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
And yeah, I would have a problem.
Yeah, me too.
With one, her trying to get my teenage kids.
Right.
I could even see if they were younger and you trying that.
Right.
But they're teenagers and you trying to tell them to call you mom.
Right. And they're basically, well, they're teenagers now.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when this first started happening, because they've been married, 4 years?
Right.
So they weren't quite teenagers yet, but still.
Right, but still.
Mom?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely have a problem with that.
Yeah, I've never even thought about asking, Taylor to be like, and Taylor's her daughter, her biological daughter, my bonus child.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about her like, yeah, I want you to call me dad.
Yeah.
And, she was an adult when I married too. Like,
well, she was a teenager.
Yeah. She was still she was a teenager. That's right. That's right.
Right. But she was in college, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, this got several, flags. And I'm sure it's some other stuff that we don't know. A lot of stuff we don't know, especially after these years. But yeah, dude is crazy, first of all. You know what I'm saying? For kind of making her feel guilty because he got her pregnant. And
Oh, and then, the fact that, because thought it was okay to go and have sex with somebody else because she had a high-risk pregnancy.
Yeah, he's delusional too.
Yeah, that's...
And I just, by the way that's worded, it sounded like he wanted to cheat anyway.
Basically.
You know what I'm saying? And that her being pregnant was just an excuse for him to go out and do that.
Right, because she said that he had a paternity test for one of
them.
The women that he slept with.
Right.
Or had unprotected sex with.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me?
Right. So he wanted to do that anyway. Yeah, he wanted to do that anyway, which is stupid. But back to this wife, and the kids, they're old enough, just like she said in the letter, They're old enough to make their choice to go to say they want to do something or not. You know,
Right.
that doesn't make her heartless. That doesn't make the mom heartless. The
No.
biological mom heartless.
I
Like
mean-
the dad was saying, the father, you know what I'm saying, was saying that, you know, you're heartless, telling her she's heartless.
Right.
The kids
See,
made a decision.
I would have straight up and see. I wonder if she told them that, or she just was like, no, they. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know if she told them directly, the dad. Like, yeah, they said they didn't want to. Because my thing is, if the kids decided to change the visitation
Right.
to once a month,
right,
on the weekend, then that says a lot in itself.
yeah, they don't want to be
So
with y'all
why
all
would
the
you
time.
even be surprised?
Right.
That's what I'm confused about. Because
Right.
why is he so surprised when they are the ones who changed it?
Right. The kids change it.
Right.
And then it's Mother's Day. They want to be with their mother.
Right.
Now,
Not
if they
with
came and did something
her.
with them, and then again, they might not have just wanted to go to Disneyland.
Yes.
I mean, ain't nobody, you know what I'm saying? They might just like,
Nah, I think they probably, look, it may be, she could, because it sounds like she's the stepmom
Mhm.
is kind of like an opportunist, so maybe she wanted them there to, like, I don't know, babysit or something, or watch after the younger kids.
While they went over and had a good time.
Right. Or maybe
I hope
she just wanted to, like, front. You
like,
know how
like
people
they got
are.
the big
Take
happy
picture.
family, take the picture.
Exactly.
I was just about to say
Posting
that.
on
Right.
social media.
Right.
Oh, look at us, the big happy family.
Right.
Meanwhile,
Right.
yeah.
And that picture
You
come out.
secretly, like, don't like them. Or don't really care for them like that. They're just
And vice
props.
versa. And vice versa.
Oh, yeah.
They don't care for
Clearly,
you.
they don't care for her.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Definitely.
I don't think she's the
No,
asshole.
she ain't the asshole.
If
They're the
anybody,
assholes.
right? That's why I say anybody's her husband.
Right, he's
You know
the
what I'm saying?
asshole. Because why would you, first of all, you know your kids.
And your
And
kids
then
said
why
something
would
to you.
And then why would you allow your wife to treat them like that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure they said something to him.
Right.
Again, with them changing their schedule from 50-50 to once a month.
Right. Yeah, something they don't really want to be there. Then they going into teenage years too. Like, yeah, they not really vibing on that.
No.
Well, how old were these kids?
They're
like stair step almost. Yeah, 16, 15, and 14.
Right.
You know what I mean? So 16, and at that age, I'm assuming if they were going to, they all lived in the same city,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they're in either California or Orlando. You know what I'm saying? They've probably been to Disney World before.
Oh, yeah.
You know what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying? More than once. So
Right.
they're probably like, yeah.
And then the kids are probably bad as hell. They like, yeah, nah, we'll pass. Yeah,
I
can
didn't think
imagine.
about they little.
I'm just saying, they 4 years ago. Well, she said
They've been together 4 years.
4 years, and they
They had
just
2
had
kids.
right? And so, yeah, nah,
Yeah, so they running around. It's a big age gap.
right?
A 10-year
They don't
age
wanna
gap
be-
between
yeah,
the
they don't wanna be
14-year-old and
bothered.
and
Yeah.
now we don't even know if the oldest one is 4. They just said that, you know, they got 2 kids.
Right.
So
we
the
don't
oldest
know
one
how
could be
old they are. They
the-
could be,
The way he operating, so they probably stair step too.
or not only that, he probably cheated on her or something. You never know. He just, yeah, that's a crazy situation right there.
Yeah.
But it brings us to our next topic,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Blended families.
Blended families.
Yes, that is a perfect segue into the blended families.
yes, and how to navigate these relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
We have one.
yes, and so for those of you, I know y'all know that my daughter is Taylor, and I had her outside of our marriage, and then he has 2 daughters as well.
Yeah, you had outside of the marriage sound like you tipped out and had her.
Oh no.
I'm like
No, I had her before we met. Okay. Does that sound better?
Yeah, that sounds better for the picture that's painted to the folks. Here. Oh my God, Liv.
No.
Wow.
Well,
how did you all make it through that? I'm sorry. Of course, I'm getting ready to say, no, I'm not.
Right. You and your sorries. You are never
You do it too.
sorry.
You do it too.
You are never
There's a whole
sorry.
short out
Cut
there,
it
but you
out.
do it too.
Oh, so you do it because I do it?
No, I do it just because that's who I am.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But anywho, and so we have like just a breakdown of steps to, try to, navigate how you can work together with a blended family, because I know for us, it was challenging.
Yeah.
And so, number one, set realistic expectations. Discuss how blending a family is a process, not an event.
Right.
It takes time for relationships to form naturally, especially between step parents and stepchildren. Don't force instant bonds. And see, for us,
that's basically what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you said, Taylor was grown.
Taylor, when
basically.
we met, Taylor was in college.
Right.
Her second year of college.
Right. So she was 19.
Right.
Right.
Right. And so
and NJ, my daughter, outside of the marriage, but my daughter, before we got together, Najari, we call her NJ for short. NJ was 12. She was 12.
Just
and then
11 going on 12. Yeah.
And then, when she turned 13, it was just like this switch.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think she hit that 13. Yeah, she was a teenager. Like that same day, like her soul left her body. I was like, who is this person?
Hey, I understand, because it happened for me when Taylor was 11. Yeah. 11 going on 12.
Yeah.
She turned into a different person. I was like, who is this?
Yeah, and trying to navigate that when you got, you trying to, she and I were still learning each other. Yeah, it was a new relationship. Yeah. So we're learning each other. And then, we moved in together. And then my daughter came, I wound up getting custody of her. And then she came to live with me, us.
Right, us.
Right. So,
it was just like, it was crazy at first, because, and me, I thought, I'm like, okay, well, I have a daughter already. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, what's another one? I could do this. Another kid. I've been through it already, so I had the experience. So I got this. Yeah, nah.
Yeah, all kids are different.
I ain't have shit, because I was a single mom. And so it was a different dynamic, you know what I'm saying, having a partner, a living partner, and trying to, raise this teenager together. And then not only that, I didn't know that her mom wouldn't, be there. Right. I didn't know she would never be involved. I thought she was going to be there. And so for me, it was just like, I thought, because at the time, of course she was still dealing with her mom.
Right.
And so I was just kind of learning everything. I was still trying to get to know her, and I didn't know her history.
Right. Yeah. So they had some stuff. Her and her mom went through some things when they were, together, and her mom and I had divorced. And it was just stuff that we didn't know. And obviously my daughter had internalized these things. Our behavior is learned. So if you don't know coping mechanisms and things of that nature, so, we had to get professional help. You know what I mean? So, I'm not going to go into exactly, what was happening. However, they were homeless for a while, and I didn't know that. And there was really no need for them to be homeless. Not in Metro Atlanta, where, we have big family. Right. Definitely me. I have big family. So there's no need to be homeless. She could have came, live with me. You know what I mean? Wherever I was.
Right.
So, so that was interesting. But like you said, once we blended them together, brings us to the next point, which talks about
prioritize communication between partners.
Yes, and this word I see right here is discipline.
Yes.
Discipline. And being on the same page.
Right. Yep. The couple needs to be on the same page about parenting, discipline, and household expectations. Regular check-ins can help avoid misunderstandings and present a united front. And see, and I know I have a lot of, regrets as far as, everything that happened. Because again, I didn't know that her mom was never going to be there or never going to come back for her. I was always under the assumption that eventually her mom would come back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she was there, but she was just there, like she would call her and talk to her. She wasn't physically, there with her.
Right. And every now and then, she might, request to, spend a day with her or something like that.
Right, but that was few and far between.
Right.
And so, and me and Carlton, again, we had we had been living together maybe
a year.
It wasn't a year before she came and lived with us.
Yeah.
It was like we moved in together 2016, and I think that 2017, that next school year, she came and started living with us.
Right.
And so we're still getting to know each other.
Right.
And now we have his daughter, a 12-year-old there, and it changed the whole dynamic.
Yeah, changed the dynamic.
Because, her mom, like I said, I didn't really know about her or all the things that she went through, because the mom, she had what is she, schizo?
She got some kind of disorder. We don't know. She hadn't been diagnosed, so I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, she hasn't gone. Her behavior was questionable. I don't even want to say the word questionable. It was stronger than questionable.
Right. Because, so we don't know if it was bipolar, schizophrenia.
Yeah.
But it was something going on.
Right.
And I noticed, you know what I'm saying, like NJ, and see, I thought I was honestly trying to help, because she would always get at NJ, why don't you call me, or, and so me thinking, okay, I could talk to her just, because I had experience in this. And so one day I thought, well, let me just tell her, teenagers, they're not going to call you. And yeah, that was clearly the wrong thing, because it caused us to get into it. Because I guess she thought I was like, the know-it-all or whatever, or trying to get in their business. And I was just trying to help. Because again, I'm like, that's how teenagers are.
Right.
They're not going to call you. You're going to have to reach out to them. And I get it. She expected her to call her. And again, it was just a lot. And him and I, we never had sat and had a conversation on our parenting styles.
Right.
Because I knew that, teenagers, they will try you.
Yeah,
they will make you want to choke them out. Okay, literally. And so, I know he had no idea of what to expect, because he never went through it.
Yeah.
And
that was my first child. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that was all new for me. And I had no warning. The kids don't come with a warning label. At 13, this is gonna happen to them.
Right.
And no one told me. But after it happened, strangely enough, people was like, "Oh yeah, man, the girls always." I'm like, "Where were y'all gurus at 20 minutes ago?" So
right.
Yeah. So it, like you said, if we had some more insight, we would have been a unified front. And that's the thing when it came to parenting, making sure we agree and, having those check-ins okay, how are we looking on this?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And just talking about, how to discipline her.
Mm-hmm.
We never had that conversation. And so, things were just crazy. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Things were just really crazy for us. Again, because I was trying to get to know her. We were still trying to get to know each other.
Right.
And so I just wish, thinking back, that we would have had that conversation on discipline and, because his way of discipline is different from mine.
Mm-hmm. People have different parenting styles and disciplining
Right.
styles.
And so, that's just one thing you should definitely, if you have a blended family,
right.
As the parents, y'all have to be on a united front. Because otherwise, and I'm not saying that, NJ took advantage, she didn't know either. She was going through it herself.
Right.
I mean, becoming a teenager, all that is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Pressure,
and then, all that.
Right. And then you're going to a different school.
Right. You learning, hormones is happening, all this stuff.
And you starting to
smell yourself a little bit.
Exactly. As the old folks used to say.
Right.
Where you're starting to, be attracted to boys.
And nowadays girls,
and in her case, it was both.
Right.
Because she was still trying to figure out who she was.
Right.
And so, you both have to be on a united front. You have to be.
I agree.
Because otherwise, it's going to be a long road ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, which actually brings us to this one right here.
Number 3,
mm-hmm.
respect the children's emotional journey.
Right.
And that, I honestly thought I was doing, because NJ would talk to me and she would share a lot of stuff with me. And, like I said, I was just trying to get to know her, and understand all that she went through. Because she shared a lot of disturbing information with me, of things that she went through when she was with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to, understand and, just keep the lines of communication open, because I wanted her to be able to trust me. Mm-hmm. But again, because her mom was there but not there, I was always in a situation where I didn't know what my role was. Just as a authority, or I knew I wasn't her mom, but just as a bonus mom. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what to do, because her mom would tell her one thing, and then it's like, okay, well, I can't tell her, well, don't listen to your mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
When her mom is actively, there.
Right.
And so, it was a lot. And again, we had to seek therapy.
Right. And then too, like what it says in here is acknowledge that kids may be still processing the loss of the original family.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
right.
I think, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if there's some study about this, but I have heard that sometimes children still wish their biological parents, especially they grew up in the house, something happened, they're still going to be wanting that, longing for that family unit. So, that could have been a situation too. So it says give them space to express those feelings and help them, and avoid making them choose sides.
Right.
Which
right.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, for me, because of course that was her dad. So she knows her dad. So yeah, they were fine. It was hard for me, like I said, to figure out what my place was, because it's like, do I discipline her? And if I do, what's the extent of that?
Right. Yeah. And we didn't even start trying to figure that out till
way later.
Like senior year. And when we went through a pandemic and everything.
Right.
So it's a lot happening.
Right. And so, and again, I knew she was dealing with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just trying to give her, some space. I didn't want to crowd her, because I knew that her mom was stressing her out. And so I didn't want to be that either. Mm-hmm. For her.
Right.
So yeah, it was just difficult. And like I said, I have a lot of regrets, because I didn't know she wasn't going to be there. Because I could have just started, being the mom or mother figure that she needed,
Yeah.
and
Our case was unique. Like I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
No.
It wasn't the worst.
it
Trust me, it was
wasn't-
not
it
the
was
worst.
not the worst.
Right. Some people have gone through way worse. I'm sure y'all
Right.
got some stories. If y'all got the blended families, please let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah.
And let us know how you navigated through it.
Yeah.
Because
we, sometimes we think, especially probably our generation, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's just me.
Mm-hmm.
It could just be me.
Mm-hmm.
Brady Bunch. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, everything's gonna come together and it's gonna be smooth.
We just gonna be one big happy family.
Right.
Nah.
We're gonna have a song and everything. Little boxes on the screen. Yeah, but no, it didn't go down like that.
No, it didn't go down like that at all.
Not at all.
You
and it says, and actually this next one says, honor the role of the other biological parent. And it says, you want to respect the presence of the child's other parent if still involved. Avoid bad mouthing and instead focus on cooperation for the child's benefit. I think that should be like under normal circumstances. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That might be like under normal circumstances.
Right. Because, I couldn't tell NJ that her mom was crazy or that I thought she was crazy. I mean, I probably, I don't know. I don't know. But again, I was just trying not to overstep my boundaries.
Right.
I didn't know what they were.
Right. They weren't clear.
Yeah, it wasn't clear at all because, and not saying that you didn't make me feel comfortable enough. Again, that was your daughter.
Yeah, I held the responsibility. And
right.
To help blend everything
together.
Yeah, I held the responsibility.
Because we would get, upset. Like, I don't know. Because he was the type of parent, he would share information with her. And for me, I was like, you kind of, for me, I was like, you share a little bit too much with her. Right. Especially information like about me. Like how the one time you told her that we all got daddy issues. Okay, maybe so. But you don't share that with a 14 or however old she was at the time because it's going to make her look at me like, well, you're not really, like, you don't have it together enough to, like, tell me what to do. And yeah, it was just, whew.
But that comes back to this second one up here where you got to prioritize the communication between the partners.
Right.
You know what I mean? And what we need to be on the same page about.
But but again, we didn't know.
But that's the thing,
because we assumed a lot.
Right. So we're passing this wisdom off to y'all. Yeah. And we're saying like, make sure you have your boundaries and have your values, your shared values as the parent. And then you basically share. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You share those values with your child and you expect your child to honor those values, especially as long as they're under your roof.
Right.
So, yeah.
Because then it was like, like I said, it was a lot to it. Because mm-hmm. It's like, okay, like for example, like they said with household, chores, expectations, I just didn't know how to go about doing anything. Because I didn't want to get into it with him if I said, something to her that he may have felt that I shouldn't have said or whatever. Again, I know for me, a lot of my issue was not knowing, what my role was. Mm-hmm. Or, could I do this? Could I do that? But again...
Yeah, hopefully someone is seeing this and thinking like, we need to talk about this.
Yes, definitely have a conversation mm-hmm. because it would have been easier, maybe a little easier because kids, all kids are resilient, but, it would have been easier as a kid to discipline them than as a 12 or 13-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Because they've already kind of been, disciplined and parented, and you know what I'm saying? So
I think to a degree, though. I mean, this doesn't mean just because you're a certain age that you stop learning. You
oh
can't
yeah,
be
no,
taught
there's
something
always
new.
room to grow.
You might have been taught something, but that's not to say you can't unlearn what you've been taught. Because maybe what you learn don't work over in this household, right? And then you got to unlearn that and learn something new in its place.
Right, but
if you don't know,
with her, she never unlearned what she was taught, because that was the problem. Like, she thought, like, the behaviors, you know what I'm saying, that she experienced, and all of the trauma that she experienced with her mom, she thought that was normal behavior. She was used, and I think for her, she was used to taking care of her mom.
Or trying to.
Right. Right, trying to.
Right.
Because she thought, I remember, I'll never forget, she asked me, like, are you okay? And I was like, I don't know if I was upset about something or crying. And she was just like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. And she was like, you could talk to me if you want. And I was just like, I thought it was sweet, but I'm just like, okay, like, yeah, I'm an adult, right? Like, I'm the one who's supposed to be teaching you. And that's what I had to try to make her understand, that you don't have to take care of me. My responsibility is taking care of you. But again, that's what she was used to dealing with her mom. So it was just a difficult dynamic, for us to deal with.
Yeah.
And just trying to find my way. And I mean, just to let y'all know, things are way, way, way better now, of course. I mean, she's 21, she's in college, and yeah, she's still going through some things. I think as a result of what she went through, like everything she went through, but at least our relationship is nothing like it used to be. I mean, nothing. It's much better. But we had to grow.
We had to get to that point.
We had to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a lot of prayer. It took a lot.
A lot of patience.
Definitely a lot of patience. A lot of patience. Because, yeah, there were some times, I'm not going to lie, like I said, Taylor was, yeah, she was stubborn when she was a teenager. Like I said, I'll never forget the time I told Taylor, I was like, leave. Like, if you don't like what's going on, leave. And Taylor was stubborn, so she really took her stuff. I was like, no.
She put it in.
No.
She put it
that's
on a little,
my shit.
Took a stick and put it in a little handkerchief.
Basically, like, walked out. Like, okay, I'll walk out. And then next thing I know, I'm in the house like, oh my God, my baby. Oh my God. Like, I'm all hysterical. Because she left. Like, F you.
You know what, though? I think.
Like, you tell me to leave,
my mom told me something like that, too. I got in the car.
And you got in the car and left?
Yeah, I left.
Yeah, but she ain't had no car. She was on foot. And I'm just like, and granted, we had family that lived literally across the street. But in my mind, like, okay, where is she going to go? You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't know. I can't tell her that. You know what I'm saying? It was just, yeah.
Yeah, parenting is
it's something else.
And the last little thing it says on here is
create new traditions together.
Mm-hmm. And we tried that. We tried that.
He would, he would cook us breakfast
on Sunday
mornings.
Yeah, and then we tried to have a little discussion.
Right.
I tried to implement something I seen in a book.
And yeah, it had come to a point where I hated Sundays. I hated the breakfast because it always ended up like we got into a lot of fights. Not physical fights, but arguments. Right.
Disagreements.
Yes, definitely disagreements, to the point where I was like, yeah, we we kind of put a
everybody
stop
wanted to shut it down because I'm
on
like,
Sunday
it's going
breakfast
left.
because it somehow always went left.
Right. Maybe we should have just looked at TV.
Or
Or
something.
I don't know. But
something.
I never did figure that part out. But you know what I'm saying? I still would like that because what I do, now, so I'll write down your name, NJ's name, Kalia's name, Tay and Dylan's name, mom and dad, your mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
Just what do I think that they want? Or what do they want? Some things I know what they want, but I'll write that down. So creating some kind of new tradition, it's like, okay, well, especially if I had to do that over again, I'd probably be like, well, what does everybody need? You know what I'm saying? What does everybody need? To progress their happiness.
Right.
That makes any sense.
Right.
So
yeah.
So
hopefully you all have gotten some type of value. Like I said, if you have a blended family, share it with us. I mean, let us know how you navigate through it. Because, like I said, for us, it was a trying time. Yeah. And so...
And I don't want to try it again.
No.
And then
thank God we don't have to worry about that. We're pretty much...
Maybe. I got the other daughter, so we're working on that too. That's a whole half of an episode.
That's a whole nother issue that we're not
maybe
even
we'll put that in another
go into right now.
Yeah,
because
maybe we'll put that in a segment on another episode. Yeah, segment for another episode. But what we're getting ready to do right now is we're gonna get a little juicy. Yeah, we done talked about the the Reddit, and we done talked about the blended family. So let's talk about this article that we found.
What is considered cheating exactly? Asking for a friend.
Right.
Let's set the scene. You're having a great day with your partner, and then it happens. You catch them secretly watching porn. Find out they're keeping in touch with an ex, or discover a dating app on their phone. Suddenly, the good mood drops and your stomach is in knots as you both fight for your point of view. The night ends in painful disconnection. Most couples don't talk openly about fidelity or faithfulness because it's uncomfortable. It can be awkward and scary. We don't want to bring up negative, loaded topics because there can be a lot to unpack. On top of that, there's also an unspoken assumption that our partners should just know what we're okay with and that we view loyalty the same way. But when we avoid these conversations, misunderstandings happen. That's where things can quickly go south. And see, because we've never actually had the conversation of what we consider cheating.
Right.
I don't know. I just assumed he knew better. Because if you have to ask yourself, is it okay? Then it probably isn't okay.
Should I put this dating app on my phone?
Right. To me, that's common sense.
Right.
But then, anyway, let's go back into it. Because cheating could be it doesn't have to be you having sex with somebody else.
Right.
That's not the only form of cheating.
Right.
Relationships come in different types of configurations. You have monogamy. You have monogamish, which this is the first time I've heard of monogamish. So I actually had to look it up. And if you click on that real quick.
Okay.
A monogamous relationship is something in between a monogamous relationship and an open relationship. It looks different for every couple. It's not fully closed or fully open, and involves commitment with flexibility when it comes to intimacy outside the primary partnership.
Right. And I just think with that, with this particular, I think the person who wrote the article, I think it was more for people that are just starting to date, really, you know what I mean? They just they're getting together. They might not have been in a relationship for years, maybe, if they hadn't, considered their configuration.
I mean, I just assumed it was for a couple that's, I guess dating. And they're clearly not married.
Yeah, because I mean, now some of this stuff, what you talking about, what's considered cheating, you know what I mean? Because we're going to go into that. Yeah, some of that, obviously applies to whether you're married or you're just in a committed relationship.
Right.
So.
Okay, so there's monogamish, swinging, polyamory, ethical non-monogamy, which is basically an open relationship, which makes defining cheating a unique challenge. Ultimately, infidelity exists on the spectrum. To know where we stand, we have to openly share our needs so we don't cross any lines. So let's break down what counts as cheating, plus how to tackle this tricky but crucial conversation. So what's considered cheating these days? We generally think of the most common definition of cheating as having sex with someone who isn't your partner. Yes, but the truth is there's no universal rule about what counts as cheating. Cheating comes down to what you and your partner decide is off limits together. This could range from flirting to having sex, and even the degrees of that may differ. Let's take flirting as an example. For one couple, cheating might mean having deep, late-night conversations with someone you find attractive. For another, it could be intimate dancing with people at a festival to receive some type of sexual interest or validation. Some might not see either of those instances as a big deal. Complicated.
With the exclamation mark.
Right. Yeah. So what do you think? So do you see flirting? I mean, they said flirting like you having a late night conversation with somebody. Now,
yeah, that right there is
that's like
line.
Emotional.
Yeah, you're getting an emotional attachment.
Yeah, why are you having late night conversations with anybody?
Right, if you're in a committed relationship. Right.
Yeah, that's you
and this already dancing at the festival thing. It depends on how you're dancing. You know what I'm saying? If we hadn't had a conversation about you grinding up against somebody or me grinding up against somebody,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then I can see that being a problem,
right?
But that's why you want to have these conversations so you'll know. Because some people are, that's nothing.
Because you may assume that it's no big deal, and the other person could be like, "Hell no, that's a deal breaker."
Right. I'm leaving you tomorrow. Your stuff is packed up.
Right. I mean, because like I said, we've never actually had a conversation about what we consider cheating. I don't know. I guess I kind of just figure he would know.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, I guess with me, my internal, what do you call it? Not intuition, but my moral compass. That's it. And it was some kind of compass. But yeah, my moral compass is going to be like, no.
Right.
Because I think about like consequences too and putting the shoe on the other foot.
And how would you feel if something like that was happening?
Right. Yeah. Nah.
As a relationship coach, not me, but the person who wrote the article, I always encourage my clients to have conversations about boundaries as soon as they can. What qualifies as cheating will resonate for different people, and what you individually and collectively determine is a breach of trust. If you're wondering if your behaviors could violate your partner's trust, here's a simple framework. If you're hiding your behaviors, downplaying the details, or wouldn't want them to see it, you probably crossed the line.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
How to determine what you're comfortable with. Before you talk to your partner, it's important first to define where you stand so you don't compromise on your important values. Here are a few exercises to walk through. The first one, what type of relationship makes you feel secure? Identify what safety looks like in a relationship. Are you a diehard monogamist, or does an open relationship meet your needs? Be honest about what paradigm. Be honest about what paradigm works best for you. Throughout my personal journey, I read books, spoke to my therapist, talked to my friends, and played around with relationship models with different partners. What are your deal breakers? Think about the things you absolutely can't tolerate. What smaller behaviors will hurt you and lead to disconnection? What behaviors are completely innocent for you? What makes you question your partner's loyalty and what is disrespectful? We're getting to the granular, but trust me, it's better to spell it out.
Yup.
Yeah, if you know that, I don't know, let's say, you know you like to have sex with, I don't know, more than one partner, or that, you know, there are people who are into that, then that's something you probably want to discuss. And not, you know, just act on it, and next thing you know,
Right, you done messed up something.
Right.
Or hurt somebody, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and so what do you consider emotional cheating?
Right.
Sometimes emotional cheating can hurt more than a physical connection. Pin down the behaviors, whether that's hanging out with someone their type or keeping in touch with people they could have feelings for. Underneath the behavior, is there a connection being made that can grow into something romantic? Are they seeking something in that connection that they're not receiving in the relationship? What do you consider physical cheating? Are you okay with your partner sleeping in the same bed with someone else?
Yeah, that right there, that question.
Yeah. How do you feel about them holding hands? Is dirty dancing a deal breaker for you? If you're in an open relationship, is it them not telling you they're having sex with someone new? Get clear on the physical boundaries that are non-negotiable. What can your partner do to make you feel safe in real life and virtually? Get clear on actions that can solidify trust and reassurance. Would you like your partner to be transparent if someone shows interest in them? Do you want them to not follow Instagram models? When is it appropriate to take down dating profiles? How do you feel about pornography? What actions will hurt you and break your heart? What's forgivable and unforgivable?
Yeah, those are some real good questions.
So I never thought that, like, because I know they mentioned it in the beginning, like, watching porn is a form of cheating.
I mean,
y'all, let me know.
Yeah, I've never.
I'm always like, let me know. How do y'all feel about that? Because I just never thought that was considered a form of cheating.
I think maybe, and y'all please help correct us. You see, we were both like, huh?
Yeah, because
like, is it like
excessive watching?
Like a moral, you've broken the moral code,
right?
Because you're physically, you're mentally, and
like, is it like you're fantasizing?
Yeah, you're fantasizing about being with somebody else instead of being with your partner. So I don't know. Maybe we need to get a sex therapist on the interview.
Absolutely, because I never thought about it like that. I mean, because I'm not gonna lie, I watch porn, but I never thought that. For me, I'm not fantasizing about having sex with someone else. For me, you know, I don't know. I'm like a voyeur. Like, I'm looking at people have sex. I'm not fantasizing about it. It just turns me on to see, you know, a man and a woman having sex, right?
I mean, that's what you're saying.
I don't know. Is that so?
I mean, I think it's the
when you watch porn,
it's the fantasy.
Are you fantasizing about another woman?
I don't know if I'm fantasizing about having sex with that woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For me, it's like a variety thing. Just seeing, like, this is what somebody else looks like. That's on the surface.
On the surface.
That's on the surface. Like,
okay.
You know, that's what this person looks like.
I mean,
this person does this.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it's just to help me get my shit off. Like, it turns me on and makes me, you know, well, typically I would do it by myself, but I mean, I would do it with you too. Like,
Right.
yeah, I just never thought about it as me fantasizing about the person that I'm watching.
Yeah,
To me, I just enjoy watching.
Hearing the sounds and all that.
Right. And watching the action.
The tones of reality.
Hey.
Because you can't touch them. So
right.
What else can you do but use your imagination and all of it?
But I'm not putting myself.
But you're still getting stimulus. Like you're giving stimulus that's causing a response in your body.
Right.
So whether or not, you're not imagining that you're with that person, it's still something they're doing that's stimulating you.
Okay.
Whether you're being visualized, where you're being stimulated visually, right, auditorily, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You're still being stimulated.
Right.
So I don't know. But then it makes me think about this. We were talking about White Lotus in the last probably couple of episodes, and on the second one, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was the second one with the Asian looking dude.
Oh, the couple. Okay.
The couple they walked. The wife walked in on the husband, and he was choking the chicken. He was going to town, and she walked in, and he was just like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
he was kind of embarrassed, but
right. And she was saying that her issue was that he rather watch porn
than have
and
sex
jack
with her.
himself off than to have sex with her.
Right. Now that's a problem.
Right.
Now that ties into
this here. Right.
Especially if it's because they were having a little backstory on that. I think that was season 2 of White Lotus. But a little backstory, they were having problems in their relationship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they never did anything until like the end of the movie.
Right.
And I don't want to spoil that one for y'all if y'all hadn't seen it already. But like he was butt ass naked laying across a made up bed with his laptop out, just he was going
now,
forward.
See, for me, yes, that would be a problem if you would rather do that than do me.
And we at the resort. We
chilling. A beautiful resort.
Yeah.
And you rather beat your meat than be with me? Oh, yeah, that's definitely a problem.
Yeah, it was weird. That relationship was weird.
Yeah, it was. But I was just thinking, because they said also, like, you looking at models.
Oh, yeah, liking Instagram models.
Right.
I've heard people, upset about because their mate checked the Instagram, put a heart on Instagram model.
Or it could be, and so... what's the, I never thought about that either. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I guess it's a fantasy thing. They're like, oh man, I bet.
Where you want to look at women,
like.
You know what I'm saying, on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and especially if you liking their pictures.
Right.
Yeah. See, I guess I never thought about that, but I just hope. Look, you ain't doing no shit like that, are you?
I like your pictures.
I don't have pictures like that. So, I don't know what you're talking about. But, anyway, so what are your values? Did I read that already?
I don't think so.
What are your values around trust, loyalty, and respect? Knowing your core tenets will help you understand how you want to show up in a relationship. It also helps you clarify the standards you hope your partner will meet. Once you know where you stand on these, it's easier to have an honest conversation and ensure your relationship is built on what matters most to the both of you.
Right.
Talking boundaries with your partner. Now here comes the next part. Actually having the conversation and saying the quiet part out loud. Despite how awkward it might feel, this is a beautiful moment to tap into the imaginative part of your bond to collaborate on your relationship's foundation. The right time to bring up this conversation is when you're developing real feelings, thinking about exclusivity, or figuring out what kind of relationship you both want to enter into. As you're having the where are we talk, It's the perfect moment to dive into what loyalty looks like.
Mm-hmm.
If your relationship has already progressed past this point, but you want to clarify things, try bringing up the topic in a natural, low-pressure moment. Maybe there's a scene in a TV show or your friend is going through something similar that relates to fidelity. Use that as a jumping off point. If you can't find a casual moment, no stress. Just slide it into a relationship check-in when you know you will have the time and space to dig into it. Approach the conversation with spaciousness, not accusations. Be vulnerable, open, and calm about your boundaries and why it matters to you. You can also bring up past experiences that color your perspective, the baggage you might be bringing into the dynamic, and anything you're working to heal. So yeah, if you've been, let's say, in a relationship where your partner cheated on you, they cheated on you several times, you might want to let them know, like, yeah, this is a deal breaker for me. This is something I won't allow, such as porn or your partner checking out
Instagram models.
checking out women on Instagram,
right,
or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or them being openly flirty, because some men are like that too. You know, where, now I know when you and I, like when we go to a restaurant, I think it's just him. It's not flirty. Like he wants to know like the waitress name, and then he may say something like witty or funny or whatever. That's just his personality. Like I never take
pretty
it
much
as
the same,
him flirting. He's the same if it was a dude, if it was a female. He's just personable like that. So I don't think anything about it. And this is whether she's cute. It don't matter how they look or who the person is. I'm just saying, like certain women are just, I don't know, I guess I'm just not insecure like that. But especially, yeah, I'm definitely not, because you know me, I'll point out, I'll be like, yo, look at her ass. Like she got a big ass. Look.
right.
I'll be quick. Be quick.
And if I want to see somebody's ass, I'll point it out to her, like, oh, look at that.
But it wasn't always like that. You know what I'm saying? I kind of gave him the okay, because I don't care. Like, I know you're with me. I know you love me. And if they could take you like that, then I ain't have you anyway. So I'm just saying. That's us, though.
I mean, but it's natural, again, for a man and a woman, man to be attracted to a woman.
Of course. You're not dead.
Right. It's just what else you do after that.
Right.
You know, after that look, right, after that hello, is what else what you do after that.
Now, see, if you tell me to look at her ass, and then I keep peeping you checking it out, then actually, nah.
Because I'm sitting over here like
I would have a problem with it, but yeah, nah, because I may keep looking.
Yeah. Look, I'm glad you asked me. Well, how would you do that? Have you ever just kept looking at somebody's ass after we pointed it out? I was about to get the little Sesame Street typewriter on you. No.
So you have then.
No.
Okay. Now I'm gonna have to watch. See, I'll be so.
That means that we can watch together longer. She ain't ready for her man today. I be telling her like, there's no clone in the world. We had the couples game. It was like, how would you know if something was a clone of me?
Yeah, there is no cloning.
If it's not the real me, I'm like,
because the shit that comes out of his mouth, I don't be ready for. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't be ready. But like I said, there's been times we could be in church and
Lord, oh no,
I'll be like, yo, babe, where's she? God forgive me, but look at her butt. Like, actually, I waited till after church, but I kind of gave him a look like, yo. it was funny because we both was like reading the same thing. Like, where'd she get that ka-dunk from?
Lord forgive us.
I ain't gonna say who, but
Nah,
I'm
we
just
ain't gonna say
saying. Yeah, I didn't know she had all that back there. Because I can appreciate the beauty of a woman's body. You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't know. I guess I'm just weird like that.
So
Let me look.
Can you have emotional cheating like that in the Lord's house? Lord, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Is that? I don't know. I was just looking though. It was there.
I mean,
I couldn't.
right. It's like
I could not see it.
right.
And so
it's like you see
I didn't say anything at the moment. I waited till after service. But I kind of gave him a look, and we both I think you knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because you seen it too.
I had seen it already.
Oh.
That's what I was telling you. I had
seen it already.
Yeah, I wasn't going to be like, yo.
You seen it already that morning or another time?
That morning. And another time.
Oh, damn. And you didn't say anything.
Because it wasn't to say it the other time.
Oh, because it was always in church. Because we ain't never seen her outside of church. So, well, you know what? Okay, well, I finally caught up. I don't know. Like I said, I could be different because I will point out in the second, I'll be like, babe, look at her boobs. Look at her boobs. Babe, look at her ass. Ooh, that's a big ass. And he could be fantasizing about it and I wouldn't even know.
Thought bubble come up.
Hey, oh well.
Yeah.
Be ready to listen to their side too. Remember, this is a bi-directional conversation. It's essential to know what you need, but they have a perspective and needs as well. Being open to hearing each other's thoughts and feelings creates reciprocity as you negotiate what's right for your partnership. Mm-hmm. Create clear agreements with flexibility. Once you've talked through your boundaries, agree on what's off limits and the consequences if those lines are crossed. Using examples can help clarify what's considered out of bounds, almost like a little role play to make sure you both understand.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So let me find out that you just...
I always talking about some let you find out.
I'm just saying because sometimes I think you just think I'm just, I don't know, like you could just do whatever.
Why?
I don't know.
That's a you problem.
That's a me problem?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's when you know you got too much time in your hands. Because
I don't sit and dwell on it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, for you.
Because again,
for it to pop into
I'm
that brain.
Always bringing up stuff.
For your receiving station to pop it, to pick up that frequency.
Oh, God. Know what's yours and what's not yours. This conversation can stir up insecurities. Some your partner can help with, and others that are yours to manage. Like we just said. Understanding this distinction is hugely important so you can self-source security within yourself without making your partner responsible for certain things you need to heal internally.
Message.
Yeah, message. Loud and clear. Well, for the record, I don't have any insecurities. Like I said,
except for that.
I will bring it to your attention. Babe, you know I'm always, we could be anywhere. We could be in a grocery store. And if I see some big ass titties, I'll be like, look, babe, look. And then if he don't look, I'ma stop him or get his attention. I don't know, y'all. Something wrong with me.
Ain't that a double? What's the double standard on that?
Something wrong with me, because I will definitely stop and make sure you can see it. But then don't look too long. Once I show it to you, Don't you dare keep looking.
What is that, y'all? What is
don't
that?
keep looking.
That sounds like a control
I already
issue.
showed you. Why you gotta keep looking at it?
That sounds like some control issue.
I mean,
stuff. Take a look. Let go there. Take a look. Turn your head. Don't you look no more. I better not catch you looking over there no more. Really?
And look. Okay, so remember that time? Look, I one time I did it.
I gotta remember
at a function where.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
a family function, and his mom heard me and was like, don't do that.
And your mom old school, so
and then my mind, but in my mind, well, first I was like, oh dang,
yeah, this was our thing, right? This is our thing.
This is our thing, and I wasn't even like thinking about it. I was like, babe, if you don't stop looking at her butt. And it was because I was looking at you. You couldn't help but see it. But I shouldn't have said anything in front of mom, dude. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, because mom didn't know we play a game like that.
She didn't know we play like that.
Yeah.
And so she was like, like, that's family. And my mom like, yeah, that ain't his blood family. That ain't his blood family. So, yeah. But anyway, that's me. But I can appreciate a woman's beauty. I don't know. I'm not sexually. Yeah, I can't be with a woman. Too many reasons why. We'll get into that in another topic or a conversation. But yeah, I don't know. So the goal is to create trust, not possession. So your partner remains a partner instead of a crutch. Agree to trust. After getting clear on the boundaries, trust each other to live life and know they won't bend the rules or go outside the limits. Mm-hmm. Commit to ongoing conversations. Relationships evolve, and so do boundaries. New situations might pop up that need addressing. So don't just stick to what you agreed on in the past. The conversation is dynamic and will shift. Think of these conversations as an open invitation you could always step into again. Yeah, sometimes you got to reevaluate. What you tolerated when y'all first met, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, you may have changed. Your boundaries change.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you change. We're always changing as humans, so.
Hey, I don't think I'll ever change where I'll be like, you know what? I got a problem with you looking at women.
Yeah, we'd have.
Well, how would you feel? See, it's easy for us to do that with women.
Yeah, but
I can't do that with like a guy.
What do you mean?
I mean, well,
number one, they ain't gonna be like,
no,
oh, babe, look at this guy.
Right.
Yeah, let's put that on the table first and foremost.
But there was a time where, like, remember when we were at JJ's, and there was this guy that walked in, and I just kept looking at him. This dude was fine. And I was like, babe, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he had muscles.
It wasn't
and
even
the bald
that.
head and the beard.
He was tall. He was bald head, dark skin.
And he looked like he looked like he had a work uniform on too. So maybe it was the work uniform. He had a little tight shirt.
Yeah, he was fine.
He had an extra sleeve.
And my eyes just kept looking. And I was like, babe, I'm sorry. But yeah, I keep looking at this man. I was like, I was like,
yo, go ahead, cause you coming home with me and he getting back in the truck.
Right. I mean, I was just honest. But I don't think I've ever found myself in that situation, to be honest. You know me, I'm looking at women. I ain't never like seen no man that was like, or you know.
You haven't?
No,
you seen a guy that you said that guy's handsome?
That I just kept looking at, because babe, I couldn't stop looking at him. And so I was just like, you know what? Before you say anything or see me looking, let me just tell on myself, yo, I'm sorry. I keep looking at this dude.
She did apologize.
I was like, he fine. And my eyes won't stop looking at him. So forgive me. I love you. It ain't nothing. I'm just looking.
She got eyes.
I'm not dead.
She got eyes.
And yeah, again, he was fine. So staying true to your principles. Honoring your needs and non-negotiables isn't always easy in relationships. When you love someone, it's tempting to compromise and neglect your authentic needs to prioritize your partner. But when you let go of your core values, you let go of who you are too. Relationships are ever evolving, and staying true to your principles help you stay anchored to yourself and find deeper intimacy with your partner. A 2023 study shows that cheating hits hard in relationships. Research across 160 cultures found infidelity is the number one reason relationships end, and betrayal trauma can take a massive toll on both people's emotional and well-being. No matter how beautifully you design a relationship, perfection doesn't exist. If one of you has crossed the line, deciding whether to break up or not is nuanced. Is the love there, and can trust be rebuilt? What led to the infidelity, and can that be meaningfully addressed? Sometimes infidelity can be a portal to explore and repair deeper issues. If both partners are willing, Other times, cheating shines a light on deeper discontent and incompatibility that can't be ignored.
Right.
Keep in mind, when the boundaries are crystal clear, staying in the safe zone and honoring your relationships agreements becomes easier. If not, things become a confusing gray area that will inevitably end in hurt feelings and sometimes irreparable repair.
Damn, she used a lot of big words. She could have said
Commitment
She could have said that.
Commitment is the highest form of love. We all deserve to be fully chosen and to comprehend the weight of what that means. What counts as cheating is unique to each relationship, shaped by the relationship's shared values, goals, and boundaries. By having open conversations, you're protecting your relationship and revealing you trust each other with your true selves, hearts, and innermost needs.
Okay. All right. So, hey, what do y'all think about this article right here about this emotional cheating? You know, what is considered cheating? Yeah, exactly. So do you agree?
There is so much to it.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot involved in it. So, have you all experienced this where you had to, talk to your mate? We're in a different generation now. In time period, back in the day, I don't think anybody had a conversation. Well, what is considered cheating to you?
Right.
What is considered cheating to me? And
right.
If this
we
happens,
haven't even had that conversation.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I'm just learning how to set boundaries, within the last 10, 11 years.
Right.
Right. And because no one taught me that. So we're not taught stuff like what this lady is talking about in this article.
Right.
I know my parents didn't teach me anything like that.
Oh, my parents absolutely did not teach me anything about boundaries.
Yeah.
And so let us know what y'all thoughts are, or if you know any type of, situations of cheating that we haven't discussed. Like I said, nowadays with the internet, there's all types of ways to cheat. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And then you got to define what's cheating.
Right.
So,
because what you may think is cheating, your partner may not think
it's just harmless.
Right.
Oh, I'm just scrolling.
Like I said, checking out women, you know what I'm saying?
Or
especially
men.
like it. Ooh.
We got to make sure it's balanced.
Hey.
Because it ain't all just true. Men who do cheating.
That is so
It ain't always just men.
That is so true. But like I said, you checking out women online or whatever, I don't think I would appreciate that.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
I can respect
would you? I mean, how would you feel? Because I know
just
you
liking
don't really,
pictures.
Yeah, like
just liking the picture. If you like the picture.
But what if he
with his shirt off?
Right. It's a difference between me liking his picture and he dressed nice.
It's a dude with his shirt off. You like the picture. I ain't gonna. Now, if you liking every single picture and that's all he doing,
right?
That might be cause for a conversation.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I ain't
Like I
gonna be
said,
like,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't think I'd be like, if you like one picture of a dude, you know what I'm saying?
You know what? I got an example.
Some dude
So
with
I
a
was on
shirt off that you like.
no. I was on TikTok and there was this guy. All he had, babe, he was a big, like, black guy. He had a nice body. All he had was a white towel wrapped around his waist.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming he was in a sauna.
Mm-hmm.
And he was dancing, like, gyrating. I was like, okay. I was like, I don't know if my man would appreciate me. Like, because you could see it moving. You could see the peen, like, kind of underneath. And I was like, yo, like, and so, I ain't even gonna lie. He had only one comment. And the person, I'm assuming was a woman, put like a heart or whatever. And I was just like, sir. And I put like a wide eye, and I put one of these emojis. Like, what are you doing?
So you made a comment.
Yes, but I made a comment.
Instead of
I made a comment and was like,
see,
sir.
when typing
and I put
is
the eyes and I did this. Because I was like, you're doing the most.
telling on us.
Because I guess he called himself doing, remember the dude that be like, hype me up he was there. You remember me showing you this guy who be dancing. Anyway, babe. Anyway. Yeah, there's this guy on there. His name, I think, is Go Off, if y'all be on TikTok. And he danced with his shirt off and his shorts. And he be like, hype me up. It's silly. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds like it.
Right. But I'm just, that's not the point.
I'm just saying.
The point is that he has his shirt off.
Mm-hmm.
And he's dancing, to that song, Hype Me Up. Who you thought was by Glorilla.
But his penis is not moving around under a towel.
No, none of that.
Okay.
But this dude was like the porn version of what the other dude was doing. And I was just like, sir, like, yeah, you doing the most.
I'm obligated to comment. I'm just saying now, you put that out there.
No, I wasn't obligated.
You put out that you had a behavior, you had a thought, you saw something.
Am I in trouble?
You're not in trouble. I'm just saying how psychology works. Don't forget,
was
I wanted to
that
be a psychology minor at my engineer. I want to be a psychology minor.
Okay.
Your mind
secreted
some chemicals, caused some chemicals to secrete. And you went, they came down and made your hand.
Was that wrong?
I'm not saying it was wrong or right. It was just the is.
I'm sorry.
That
was wrong. I apologize. But I was just like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said anything. Because I don't know how I feel if you said something, there was a woman doing that. Like, why you gotta say something? Like,
why you gotta have all that out? Why you got... I like the way that top fit on you. Is there any more room in them jeans? Like...
But it wasn't.
Hand over the face emoji?
I thought it was a bit
See no
much.
evil? See no evil?
Well, I had the emoji with the hand.
Yeah, that didn't mean you didn't look, though. I'm just saying.
I don't know. Y'all, was I the asshole in this case? I looked at a TikTok of a man in only a towel. And it was a fine man, but yeah.
And his slong was long.
No, but you could, like, the towel was flopping, and you could see, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Was I the asshole for commenting? Should I not have? I should have just kept moving. Or clicked on not interested. That's what I should have did.
Yeah, right. Not interested when you interested.
No, I wasn't. I promise. It wasn't even that I was interested. I just seen that, yeah, he was doing too much. I've seen a girl.
You were disgusted by his behavior.
I was a little bit, because I thought, the other dude, he's fun with it. He was doing too much. You in just a little ass white towel, you know what I'm saying, that barely covering you up. And yeah,
They
you
happen
doing
to show
all
it to
that.
your
He
algorithm.
was doing,
And the algorithm happened to show it to you.
Yeah, I did. Like, what you think I'm like? I've seen other videos, and this was another one.
I mean, that's how the
What are
algorithm
you accusing
the algorithm
me of?
works like that.
Oh,
Just like
man. Anyway.
TikTok the same way as YouTube.
Anyway, I ain't
Same
even
way as
trying to.
Facebook.
I ain't even trying to hear.
You seen the social dilemma?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But no.
Go down the rabbit hole. What else
Whatever.
you looking at on TikTok?
Whatever.
Oh, TikTok. All right, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us today as we talked about blended families and cheating, what is considered cheating, and we would love to get y'all's feedback in the comments. So you can leave something here on our socials. We're on all the social platforms. Definitely subscribe to our newsletter at legacyjourneys.net so you know when we're putting out the latest video. And hit the subscribe notification if you're on YouTube, so you know the next time we're putting out the videos. The channel is growing, which is crazy, but that's because we've been committed to putting out more new content for you all. So that being said, this is Carlton.
And I'm Liv.
And this has been the Legacy Journeys podcast, where we embrace, explore, and evolve relationships. We'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace.